I'm so excited today. We have got the fabulous Kate Save with us. Now, Kate, you and I have been trying to get this interview together for a number of months.
Absolutely. So very glad to be here today. Thank you, Kylie.
I sort of got introduced to you, Kate, through an amazing lady in Melbourne when we were looking at organising our study tour to Melbourne last year. And then unfortunately, you got the dreaded COVID when you'd been travelling overseas and we didn't get to have you speak. So I didn't want our listeners or our clients to not hear your story. Incredible to say the least. So, Kate, you're an accredited dietitian and exercise psychologist, is that right?
Exercise physiologist.
Physiologist.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I apologise. The list of awards are endless. Like if anyone wants to go to Kate's website and have a look, but Telstra Best Business, Victorian Best Business, launched in 2015. Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Even been on Shark Tank. I had a look at that. That's amazing. But I want you to tell us your story. So, Kate,
Yeah.
what is your business and how did it all come about?
So, BeFit Food is Australia's first doctor and dietitian designed and scientifically formulated ready-made meals company. And my passion for starting BeFit Food was purely because I'd worked in the health industry. I'd seen over 10,000 dietitian patients at this stage. So I had my other company, Peninsula Physical Health and Nutrition, which I still have. And we predominantly see patients for dietitian needs. And in the past, I'd also had a gym, which I'd sold after I had my first child. And I think the need for people to have food that actually changes their health became so predominant because we're all time poor and you can give people education on exactly what they need to do. You can give them a meal plan, you can give them a shopping list, but you can't physically be in their house portioning out their meals and making them for them. And after I'd been asked, I would think thousands of times whether I could do this for people. And the answer was always, well, I can't. And it really just occurred to me that we should have a ready-made meals company delivering on the promises that we knew that we could with our own recipes. And I guess the recipes are very much my home recipes that I would use with my family, my kids, my husband, even my parents, my sister. So the food is all whole food, which really just means that it's got no added artificial things, no added sugar, low sodium, high protein, 4 to 12 different veggies per meal. And the key thing is, it's just made with herbs and spices, lean proteins and veggies and nothing else. We don't need to be adding in all these fillers into our food. We just need the food.
And I love everything that you stand for because when we started Regrowth, there was a big part of what we did was the retreats around healthy mind, healthy body, healthy living. And I know what all of our listeners and our clients are going to say. Carls, do they deliver to Brisbane and Sydney? So are you national? Are you national reach, Kate, with your
Yes.
business?
Yeah, we are national. We deliver all over Australia except the Northern Territory at this stage. It just seems to be a nightmare to be able to get trucks up that way, but all across Australia. And we're also in over 780 retailers. So the majority of Woolworths stores, so over 750 Woolworths, although they only have really 2 to 3 meals per store. But Chemist Warehouse has just come on board. So we've
Okay.
got big sort of 4 to 5 meter freezers in a handful of stores in Victoria and hopefully spreading out at some stage across Australia. So that's a work in progress. So who
I've got a
knows where
few
that'll
clients,
go?
Kate, that have got planes, and I can see people making go, oh, just tell her we'll deliver to the territory. But look, our business specialises in scale, particularly in our client base that have worked all their life to try and scale business, get top line revenue, and have greater reach. You've done it in a really short period of time. 8 years. I mean, what is everyone says, what's the magic bullet or what's the secret to your success? How have you done it? And what would you say to people that are trying to scale and what helped you along the way?
Oh, look, I certainly feel like I had a head start with my practice, my dietitian practice. So I was already writing the meal plans, cooking the recipes, and a lot of the work had been done first. But the idea to step from service into product was really confronting at first because I had to find kitchens and a whole new team, and then warehouses, logistics, packaging. And that really was an overwhelming thought at first, but you start little by little. And I think the best way to start a business is start small and then look at what works and build it up from there. So don't think that at any point in time there's too much to do and I can't do it all. Start by selling to your first 5 or 10 customers and then let it organically grow, but keep in mind that growth sucks cash. So to go from A to B to C to Z takes a lot of investment, not just in time, but also in money. And that was when I actually decided to go on Shark Tank because I thought we got to a certain size, but for us to get to that next level, we knew we needed investment. And it's obviously difficult to get the investment from the banks when you're early, a startup business. And if you don't have profit on the books, and the banks are very hesitant at loaning you money. And I wasn't aware of this whole, I guess, world out there of investors and angel investing. And there's so many other ways now to raise money, even crowdfunding, which we're looking at the moment. But Shark Tank was the most obvious for me.
Does one even apply or even think to go? And what's the sort of timeline that you're looking at for that? So for the time you apply, I'm assuming, do you have to go through an interview process for that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I applied online at first and didn't expect to get a response. And then when you get the first response, it's pretty exciting. You think, wow, okay,
Absolutely.
what's next? So then you do a phone interview. And then after that, you've got recorded interviews. And then, you make the finals. And next thing you know, you're flown up to Sydney to Fox Studios to go and do the shooting. And it was really, really exciting. And I guess the scariest part of it was you didn't know what was happening next. So, you go and do this 1 minute pitch preparation, and next thing you know, you're out on the stage, you've got the 5 sharks there, and they start asking questions. So, my 1 hour pitch turned into several hours. So it was over 2 hours, I think, and of questions afterwards. And there are no breaks. There's no paper. You can't look things
Wow.
up. You've got to know everything off the top of your head. And I guess they're wanting to create great television as well. So they don't want you to make it perfect. They want you to stumble and to fail and to be uncertain because that does make good television. And I made sure before I went on Shark Tank that I watched every episode ever made for about 3 months. I wrote down every question ever asked and I
Yep.
made sure that I knew that about my business. So they couldn't ask something that I couldn't confidently answer. And I think that part of it for me was so crucial, the preparation, because you know that it's going to national television. And at this stage, I had another business and it was the service business, very similar to yourself. And you don't want to put your reputation on the line that you could break your current business that's successful and functioning well by having a really bad couple of minutes on television because you're unprepared. So that was the most critical thing. And it did go well, but unlike what you see on TV, I thought that I'd be walking out with a great big check and, my biggest problem would be how do I fold it and get it on the plane or something like that. But that's not what happens. They go through a period of due diligence after the television show, and the television show doesn't always go to air as planned. So we got pushed out about 9 months from the filming date.
Wow.
So there was
Wow.
no investment. The television show hadn't gone to air. We hadn't passed the due diligence, but I didn't want to give up because I knew that we had something that could really work. And it was working in a small form. And we knew that we would be able to scale it up with the investment. So the key thing for me was just not giving up. So I just kept going back and back and back until we got the investment. So don't give up at the first no is probably my advice there, because if you're truly passionate about what you're doing and you know you can make it work, you just have to show other people that you can do that, because other people can't read your mind. They're not you. They don't know what you're capable of. So if you can prove that, then more than likely you'll be able to get the investment.
I think something that you said is so relevant, not just to our industry, but to so many businesses and anything that you do, is the preparation that you must have done and watching every interview. And particularly in our industry where people have the opportunity to earn a lot of money. And we talk about professional athletes and listening to what your preparation was. Is the preparation, guys, if you are listening, that you're really giving to your craft? What are you prepared to sacrifice? What are you prepared to commit? And what does that look like? Kate, was there ever any times where you thought, bugger it, it's too hard, I'm tired, and telling yourself stories? How do you get through that? What are the lessons you've learned? And what would you say to other people?
I think it's really important to surround yourself with positive people, and you will always have people trying to bring you down. So you have to ignore that and make sure, you have got your tribe and people that support you and lift you up. I love positive affirmations. I listen to them at night sometimes. I'll bring up little memes that are positive, and even our workplace, there's lots of positive quotes around the place. And I think nobody can see the vision as clearly as you can. And you've got to remember, when people are pulling you down, it's because they can't see what you can see. So you just have to believe in yourself.
And so as a leader, so how many people have you got in your team now working in the company?
Well, we grew the team to 63, but then we started outsourcing. So the best thing about that was it enabled us to have lots of different teams, but in an outsourced function. And that way you actually get the best of both worlds, because you have the best marketing team, the best digital media, PR, manufacturing, warehouse, logistics. So we've managed to have quite a small management team now. So we're only a team of 12, but we do outsource as much as we can.
So using the specialists who are the experts.
Yes, and they have their teams and less people to manage, which is great. It makes, your job easier.
Absolutely. And tell me, has there been a mentor, someone in particular, or a great book or podcast or something you'd recommend to our listeners, or something that's had a massive impact on your success?
I do love the book Eat That Frog, and that concept of whatever the biggest, hardest thing is, and I think of like a big brown, toad type thing. Do that thing first, get that out the way, and then the rest of the day seems easier. I also love personally like cold immersion, going out into the bay for a swim in the morning, or just a dunk at 3 or 4 degrees in Melbourne sometimes. So I think that has a way of just waking up your mind and body and just resetting. And even most importantly is getting good sleep, because if you don't sleep well, your mood will never be as good as it could be. And physical activity, movement, I find always lifts mood. So all of those things.
I think you're in the beautiful Mornington Peninsula, and obviously we've got your name up in lights, and we'll leave behind you. We'll leave all the details on the copy below. But if people want to reach out to you, is it best for them just to order directly on the website, or do you prefer that they get a tailored plan, or how does that work?
We actually offer complimentary dietitian services. So if they go to the website, they can book and chat to one of the dietitians to get a program, or they can have a look and order themselves.
And if someone's interested in like bringing their team in or doing this across their business, is that something that you do for business as well?
Absolutely. So we run lots of programs with different corporate groups.
Yeah, fantastic. Look, Kate, congratulations on the success. I'm very disappointed I didn't actually get to meet you in the flesh when we were in Melbourne. I'm so sorry. Kate's kids have been a little bit unwell, so we'll let her go. Kate, thank you so much for your time. We'll include details on the company. But again, congratulations on your success, and thank you for being so generous with your time.
Such a pleasure. Thank you, Kylie.